30-day financial gratitude challenge. And happy Friday, you guys. I am behind on the challenge. Please forgive me, but this week has been busy. I've been trying to go live with you guys in the evening at 7:30, but a lot of things have just been brewing this week, starting with like Tuesday, and it's kind of continued. Throughout yesterday. So I figured I would come live for our challenge today and just kind of try to see if I can pack day 13 or 14 in today. So I have day 13, 14, and 15 with you guys for the financial gratitude challenge, but I wanted to get 13 done to as early as I can, and then probably get 14 done later today, and then I might have to do 15 to 16 tomorrow just to kind of get caught up with everything. But today we are coming from the book of Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 through 6. And it's about thankfulness and trust. And it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not into your own understanding. And I found, I know most of us who have read the Bible, we are Christians. We've heard this particular proverb our entire life. We've heard it preached to us by family, friends, pastors, whomever you've been centered around. Sometimes even people that aren't really faith-based, or they don't go to church or things like that, or they don't really have a denomination, but they do believe in God, higher power. They will tend to use this particular scripture and quote it all the time. And so I thought it was befitting that it came up as part of our gratitude challenge for day 13, because it says a lot about us and how we trust God in our financial journey. And so trusting God is very hard, especially when we cannot see what he is doing, because everything that God does is hindsight, meaning we don't know what he's doing. We can't see what miracles he's working for us. We can't see the blessings that he's going to give us. Everything that we see comes from God is after it has already been given to us, after the blessings has already been given to us, after the problem has been solved, after the issue has been fixed. It is hindsight. It is afterwards. It's after we see his works. And so it is hard trusting God in the midst of our financial journeys when we don't know what the outcome is going to be, when we can't see him working in the background. And so trusting God to say, God, I don't know what's happening with my finances. I don't know what's going on. I've been praying to you to help me get out of debt. I've been praying to you to help me start this emergency savings, but every time I turn around, something is happening that I can't seem to save my first $100, and I'm trying to at least save $500. But every time I turn around, something needs to be fixed. Something gets broke. Something I have to pay for. It's just like I can never catch a break. And it's not just with savings; it's with anything. The car breaks down, the appliance breaks, the furnace goes out, the hot water heater needs to be replaced. It is always something that throws us 10 steps back when we have just barely gotten 2 steps ahead. And it is at this point that we have to trust in the Lord with all our heart. This is at this point when I know this week specifically, I did not have a financial setback per se, but I just had a lot of things thrown at me, personally wise, some family things that I just had to trust in God. I had to give it to God, and I had to let God have his will, let God have his way. And I had to just honestly lean that no matter what the outcome was going to be, I had to trust that he was going to fix it. When it specifically comes to my finances, I spoke about this several times last week and earlier this week, that in my financial journey, I was doing well. I was hitting my milestones. I was able to pay off bills. I was everything was going in stride. I was hitting it. I was on a paying off streak. And then boom, I hit a complete wall. And then I couldn't quite figure out as to why I was hitting this wall. I had to sit down. I had to go to God and ask him, what was the plan? What was I not seeing? What was I not doing? What was it that I just hadn't grasped that I needed to grasp? And I needed to trust that he may or may not give me the answer. Ultimately, I was hoping that he would give me an answer, because honestly, I feel like when it came to this particular issue, I'm not going to say I felt like I was required for God to give me an answer, but I felt like it would be nice of God to give me an answer. Like, God, I hit a stone wall with paying off these bills. I did eventually get the answer, but I had to trust that he was going to give me the answer as to why I had hit a brick wall when it came to paying off my debts. So I did eventually figure out through him what the issue was. And so I had to trust in him and lean not into my own understanding of what was it something that I specifically was doing? Was it something that I wasn't learning? Was it something of my own doing, my own fault? What was it that was causing me to hit a stumbling block? And so I felt like that was a stumbling block for me, is that I was causing me to be the blame of something I didn't do. Did I not give enough gratitude in the past couple of weeks? Did I do something wrong? Did I misjudge my finances? Did I overpay on, did I overspend on something? What was it, something specifically that I did? And then once I got the answer that no, it wasn't something specifically that you did. It wasn't specifically something that you caused. It was me showing you, one, that even though you were paying your debts off, you were doing well. You needed to slow down. You needed to embrace the journey. You needed to learn the lesson in the journey. And then once you learned what you needed to learn, then I was going to continue to let you excel to phase 2. And so once I understood that and I realized, oh, it was this that you were trying to tell me, it was this lesson that I needed to learn, I was able to go forth in my financial journey. And it wasn't that it was anything bad. It was just I needed to go back, analyze, re-strategize, and get the answer from him. And it took a couple of days. I didn't get the answer right away. I didn't get the answer that minute, that hour, that day. It took a couple of days of me giving him the question, just looking at my finances and just kind of leaving it out there in the air. And then about a couple of days later, I went back and then I got the answer to what my question was. And so with that, I trusted in him to give me the answer. I trusted in him to answer my question. Now, again, God is God. He does not have to give you an answer. He does not have to justify anything that he does. He does not have to give you an answer to anything. But if he's so gracious enough to give you an answer, if he's so gracious enough to give you what you're looking for, then it is at that moment that we do continue to give him gratitude, that we honor him, because again, he doesn't owe us anything. We don't have to give, he's not required to give us anything. He's not required to give us the answer. As far as we know, he can continuously allow us to go on our merry way, and we still may not know the answer. And so I believe wholeheartedly when it comes to us getting on with our budgets, whether you're saving money, paying off credit card debt, paying off student loans, just saving for retirement, no matter where you are in your budgeting journey, we have to trust in the Lord and lean not into our own understanding, and then still thank him in the process. And again, this 30-day gratitude challenge is just a gratitude challenge, again, for our finances, thanking him for wherever we are in our financial journey. Whether you're aiming to be debt free, paying off debt, whatever the case is, it is about showing gratitude. It is about honoring God. And then today, more specifically, it is about trusting him and just leaning not into what you think it should be, leaning into what you believe it should be. It is allowing him to work things out it is allowing him to work things out for your greater good. And again, sometimes you may get the answer, sometimes you may not get the answer. It is all up to him. And so I just have two questions for you today. And is how does trusting God in your financial circumstances help you to develop a heart of gratitude? Because I know trusting God when you don't know what he's doing in the back scene is very hard, because trusting God requires us to have a level of faith, and it's requiring us to have a certain level of faith. And then it's also realizing that trusting God is basically it's going to require us to have what we call hindsight 2020, which means we're not going to see what's going on. We don't see the fruits of what God is doing until after it's already done. We don't see the fruits of what God is working out for us until after he reveals it, until after he shows us. So we don't know what's going on in the background. And so trusting him requires us to have faith. It requires us to have a different level of discernment. It requires us to have trust in our financial circumstances. It requires us to know that he's going to fix it. And again, he may give us the answer and he may not. The second question is, where do you need to place the most trust in God when it comes to your finances? So do you need to trust him because you're paying off a debt? Do you need to trust him because you're not the best with organizing your money? Do you need to place more trust that he's going to allow you to start a budget and you're going to stick to it? Where is it exactly that you need to put more trust in God in your financial journey? And the action step for today is write down a financial situation where you're struggling to trust God. Pray for his help and then give him thanks that he's going to work it out for you. So for me specifically, the thing that I'm struggling with now is finishing up phase 1 of my debt freedom journey. And my debt freedom journey is phase 1. I have different phases, but phase 1 is me paying off some car stuff like tolls, taxes, registration, maintenance, all of that. That's phase 1. An old car debt, like that is all within phase 1. And so that is currently where I'm at a standstill, and that is where I was struggling. That is where I had to give it to him, pray about it, trust that he's going to fix it. I'm going to get over the stumbling block. Things are going to start progressing a little bit more forward than it had been. So this is where I have been struggling with for like the past almost month, because this is where I've kind of hit a brick wall, because as I've been paying off things, I'm now at a point where I told you guys my debts are in phases. And so at phase 1, because I was paying everything off so quickly and so fast in the beginning, that's because those debts were smaller. Because the debts are now a little bit larger, it's requiring me to take a little bit more time to pay them off. So I'm paying them off like in increments. And so that is where I was getting frustrated, because like one of my debts is like tolls. And so as you know, because the tolls were so large, I had to pay them. I'm paying them in increments, where before it was a few other, things that I needed to pay. I was able to knock those out. And that's where I was getting frustrated at. And so this is where I was having my stumbling block, like, God, why I can't pay this off a little bit quicker than, I wanted to pay these things off a lot quicker, but then realizing this debt is a little bit larger than those previous ones. So it's going to take you a little bit more time. So it's not that you can't pay them off. It's just that where you thought you was going to have everything paid off by a certain date, it kind of sort of didn't happen that way, but it's okay. As long as you're still progressing, you're still making a dent, and eventually everything will get paid off. And so again, today, write down a situation where you're struggling with your financial issue, and pray to God for help, and then give him thanks in advance for him working that particular financial issue out with you. Sometimes I found a lot of times we can't progress. We don't get the answers. Things don't work out as smoothly for us because sometimes he's simply waiting for us to say thank you. Sometimes he's simply waiting for you to acknowledge him and just to say, hey, thank you, God. Thank you for, allowing me to pay off this debt. Thank you for allowing me to start this budget. Thank you for allowing me to pay off this credit card bill, because a lot of times we're just in go mode all the time that we don't stop to give him thanks. We don't stop to allow him a moment to just give him gratitude. We don't stop. And so a lot of times we block our blessings because we simply don't say thank you. And so we kind of sort of take him for granted. And so that is why we sometimes hinder our own selves and we hinder our own blocks because we don't show gratitude and thankfulness in from where he's brought us from. So that is it, you guys. I am hopping off. I will see you guys later tonight. Thank you, Budget and Budget. Yes, it is a good reminder to stop and give thanks, especially when we're trying to budget and be good stewards with our money. It definitely isn't easy. It's not, we all are budgeting. So we know it's not an easy task, but I just feel like when we don't give gratitude, we block some of our blessings. I'm not saying we block all of our blessings, but sometimes I feel like it could be that little one hump that we can't get over. And just because we didn't say thank you, that's why we're not getting over it a lot quicker than what we probably could. And so once we say thank you or acknowledge him, I feel like that's when he opens up that door or he takes that stumbling block away. And then next thing you know, we're on to the next thing, everything works out. So that's just my personal belief. So yeah, it is a good reminder to just stop and give, thanks, because, I believe he makes it all possible. And so thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your comment as well. I love it. So that is it. I am hopping off. I'm gonna go get me some lunch because I have not ate yet today. But I will be back later today. I'm like 2 days behind because I just had some family stuff that I had to deal with, so I wasn't able to come live yesterday and the day before. So I'm kind of trying to play catch up. But I will be live probably later today, sometime later today, and just kind of, play catch up with day 14, I think. So with that being said, you guys, I am hopping off. Have a blessed Friday, and I will see you later. Budget and Budget, thank you for tuning in, and I will talk to you later as well. Bye.
The condo gets old, the windows start looking shabby and stupid and ugly.